This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Week 14 of the NFL season kicks off tonight in Nashville. It's the 4-8 Jaguars visiting the 6-6 Titans. Tennessee is looking to keep pace in the AFC playoff picture, while the Jags, they've had a disappointing year, so they're looking to play spoiler against a division rival. We'll have all the action for you right here on Sports 1140 beginning at 5 o'clock. Had a blockbuster trade in Major League Baseball yesterday. The Arizona Diamondbacks shipped all-star first baseman Paul Goldschmidt to the St. Louis Cardinals in exchange for a trio of prospects. Goldschmidt has 1 year left on his contract, and Russell Westbrook notched his 108th triple-double last night in Oklahoma City's 114-112 win over the Nets, breaking a tie with Jason Kidd for third most all-time. It's 8:06. Peak Financial wants to talk retirement. Dial pound 250 and say the word money. Those are your top stories. Now time for the third hour of the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Our thanks to Grant Napier for joining us. You can pick all that up on the podcast at KHTK.com. Kyle usually has it up within an hour after the end of each show. You can also watch the podcast, or should I say the live show, on the screen. Computer, tablet, phone. Go to KHTK.com, scroll down, you'll see it. We'll get into this later, but a disturbing tweet, Kyle, thank you for pointing it out to me, from Ian Rappaport, who was quoting the Burgundy blog, which is a blog having to do with, like the Sacktown royalty for the Redskins kind of. Alex Smith is battling an infection related to the surgery he had on his broken fibula and tibia. It's premature to say what this means for his playing future, but it's being handled with care and dealt with seriously by doctors. And Kyle, help me out. Was it an Eagles player? This is just in the last couple years, maybe a Bears player that tore his knee so bad, and they were talking at one point about amputating it.
Yeah, that was, I believe, Zach Miller.
That's exactly right. It was Zach Miller. Whenever I hear anything about that, especially with a terrible injury, and I'm no doctor, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, my God. When Alex Smith got injured, we said, hey, thank goodness it's bones and not ligaments. Ligaments are actually tougher to deal with. Obviously, that's complicating Alex Smith and his potential return as well, whenever that may be, if that even happens.
It's time to call Sierra Pacific to get up to $1,600 off a new Lennox furnace. Keep your home cozy and warm this winter. 800-551-3040 or SierraPacificHome.com.
We'll get to Sam Amick right now from The Athletic, joining us as he does each and every Thursday. Gosh, Thursday already. Sam, how are you, buddy?
David, doing great. The week is flying by, isn't it?
You know what it really is? I think it's because we're getting closer to Christmas. And it just recalled, I just thought about it. We got a double dip of you last night. And then I mentioned, I didn't go into any detail, but I said when I was promoting you coming on today at 8:05 that neither you nor I think it even clicked with us, but you and I had quite the long conversation yesterday. And I didn't even think about the fact that we had an actual friend. I don't think we barely talk sports at all. And then you're coming on here today.
It was good life philosophy stuff.
Yeah.
And like you, I didn't connect the dots and realize that we were just one day away from getting to talk again, Dave.
I want to ask you about Kevin Durant. I almost said your friend Kevin Durant, but you're a journalist, and I take that very seriously. But I have called you the Kevin Durant whisperer before. Whether or not you guys have a friendly working relationship, you do your job, and I don't want to imply otherwise, but it was you who I felt, if you trace back Kevin Durant's transition, if you will, from fairly quiet, unassuming guy in the NBA that was very good. I very much remembered, I'm going to paraphrase now, an old article where you interviewed him, and he said something to the effect of, the old KD is gone. I'm gonna be more me. There were some expletives in there. I'm gonna do my thing, and then I feel like that was the jump off point for the Kevin Durant we know now, who is he's a lightning rod. And he made some comments yesterday about playing with LeBron James and how many young players may not want to do that because of the toxic environment that he did not blame on LeBron. He blamed on the media. Did you take those comments with rolled eyes like many people did, or do you see a little bit of his point in the reaction of these comments that really with Kevin Durant, it seems that no matter what he says, he's going to get absolutely killed for it publicly?
Yeah, I mean, that last part is probably where I fall. What's funny is, you were qualifying my kind of background with Kevin. I was going to be a smart aleck and say, I'm a Durant fanboy, to use the word that he used in his interview to describe some media members in relation to LeBron. Now, the other funny takeaway was I might need to give Kevin a hard time about this at some point, because my Twitter picture these days is a picture of me talking to LeBron. And so some guy yesterday got on my timeline and was like, "You're probably one of those fanboys," So do I love the little shot at the media? No, because I don't agree with, I know the guys who have covered him and the women who have covered him for the last, all the most influential years of LeBron's career. And there's been some incredible journalism done, sports writing wise, and just painting the picture of his story during that time. And I think it's a pretty hard hitting group that has done a wonderful job of kind of striking that balance. Here's where I think I fall on the Durant quote. And I'm going to quote my buddy and colleague, a guy named Nathaniel Friedman. I used to work with him at Fan House years and years ago, and he put out a tweet that is R-rated, so I will clean it up. And he said he tweeted the entire Durant quote. And he said, "Here's the actual quote from Durant. You are an effing idiot if you think he's dissing LeBron or people who play with him, or saying LeBron doesn't deserve fans." And I kind of agree, because if anything, it's just the media. The media is the only folks who should be mad by this quote, because he criticized the way LeBron's been covered. Other than that, I think it's another case of people, A, not liking Kevin, and B, always wanting athletes to actually speak their minds and be candid, and then when they are, criticizing them for it. So the other takeaway here is, I saw somebody say, I don't know how Kevin fixes his PR, because being great and winning clearly don't get the job done. And, it's just Kevin's relationship with the public continues to get more and more tricky.
I saw in those quotes, if I was trying to look at it from an anti-Kevin Durant stance, you could take some of it as perhaps some jealousy, haterism, as the kids say these days. But I also didn't take them as that controversial. He went out of the way to say none of this is LeBron James's fault. He was going after the cult of personality surrounding him, the media, and everything else. So I think you and I are on that same page. But let's look deeper at the media. Now, we're talking about the Brian Windhorst and the people that you mentioned of the world that I too think have done a tremendous job covering him. But do you think since the I'm taking my talents to South Beach, which was probably the low point for LeBron, do you think the media in general treats him with kid gloves at all, and Kevin Durant has a point, or is that completely dismissible in your opinion?
There's a discussion to be had there. I mean, does his bad defense get overlooked at times? Sure. Does his I don't know. I don't know what the accusation is. I mean, the guy's been to the finals 8 straight times, and now's got a Lakers team full of young guns and a bunch of misfit veterans, put 2 games away from the top spot in the West. Right now, they've won 13 out of 17 games. So he's pretty damn good at what he does for a living. And then on top of that, he is developed into an extremely positive kind of member of society when it comes to just using his incredible wealth and resources and platform and stage and voice to not only help people from a charitable standpoint, but to have, kind of well-formed, strong opinions on different social issues and kind of leave a mark that goes beyond the game. So I think this is deeper with Kevin in general being fatigued by the media industry. It's only been a couple of weeks since I guarantee you in Kevin's private moments, he complained like crazy about the media environment where the second that his thing happened with Draymond, the Warriors became like a daily episode of Days of Our Lives, where the media was like, how are you feeling today? How are you guys getting along? Have you guys talked? What's the latest? And that stuff is his least favorite thing. He's complained constantly for years that the media doesn't talk enough about the game. He wishes that it was simply an analysis of how each guy plays, and it stopped there, as opposed to the personality stuff and the other stuff that people find so interesting. So honestly, I think it's partly just Kevin being mad at the media, and it happens to kind of rear its head on this story.
Sam Amick of The Athletic joining us. Speaking of Kevin Durant, he said this a couple weeks ago on those Draymond questions, and we saw Ron Rivera, the coach of the Carolina Panthers, say the same thing when asked about his job security. What do you think of the latest bout of I've noticed athletes and coaches, and you're seeing a lot more of them trying to dictate to the media what questions should and shouldn't be asked. Kevin Durant said, don't ask me that question again. Ron Rivera said, don't ask me that question again. How do you give them a pass on that because of the frustration, or is that getting a little bit goofy when you're trying to tell the media what to ask?
I mean, it's getting goofy, but there's like a direct correlation between that, their comfort level and their them feeling free enough to kind of handle a situation that way. And I think this ongoing debate on their side of things about the place the media plays in all of this. I mean, I've had this conversation with people from Oklahoma City before. I've heard enough about Russell Westbrook to be fairly confident saying that, like, if Russ could wave a magic wand and change the entire media system in terms of how the NBA is covered, he would do it. We would either be out of work or going to do something else, and he would address like one camera after the game to talk and give a few platitudes, and that would be it. And so I think you have these coaches and players who at different times deep down are looking at us thinking, I wish you weren't here. I don't understand why you guys are given this space. And so I think, that, and with the evolution of player funded media, the way the internet has changed things, I think a lot of these people are sitting there going, I can get my message and my voice out through other means. And I think that creates conflict.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that leads into my final question about him. Kevin Durant was already getting a little bit loose with the media before he left the Thunder. But there's a notorious reputation when it comes to the Oklahoma City Thunder PR and how they handled Durant, Westbrook, and the media. I've heard very much unlike any other team in the NBA. Do you think, and Westbrook's still there, do you think that conditioning perhaps with KD in Oklahoma City has hindered him at all in his relationship with the media once he got out of there and into a bigger fishbowl?
I don't. I actually don't. I think that, I think this is just him having his own opinion on how the media operates. I think the takeaway with the OKC years would be that in general, as he's gotten older and looks back on that chapter, I feel confident saying that he realizes now that he was controlled by them on a level that he is no longer comfortable with and wishes he would have pushed back against earlier, which is to say that, if he wasn't in OKC, he might have been sharing these candid, raw opinions even earlier. I don't think, he's had bad experiences with the media. I've talked to him about stuff in OKC where it still bothers him how certain things were covered. People are going to glom onto this quote, but here's my last thought, because we always enjoyed diving into the media stuff, Dave. But did what he say yesterday, was it interesting and compelling enough to talk about on a bunch of radio shows? Sure. But the other problem with the way that our industry works right now is that every time anybody says anything interesting, the aggregators and all these damn sites who don't do any work on their own, they don't do any reporting, they just simply exploit, the people and the companies who are actually paying to put content and coverage together. They pull out one quote, make that the headline, and they make all these guys not trust us because the context of what they said often gets lost. Did you see this quote the other day from Klay Thompson?
The 1-8 quote, the finals?
Yeah. Great quote. I'm not trying to pretend it's not a good quote.
Sure.
But for crying out loud, our guy, Anthony Slater, who covers the Warriors, puts together a 1,500-word article, and it's a very strong aspect of that piece. Well, it blows up because everybody pulls the one quote out, makes that the beginning and the end of the story. And next thing you know, Clay, understandably, is irritated because he's like, man, you there's just no context to stuff. And that's with Kevin. Like, I mean, how many people who are going to listen to your show and react across the country today actually read the 1,200-word story that Rick Bucher put together for Bleacher Report, or could even tell you, where it was originally published? So that's where this stuff it's nonsensical because 99% of the public is reacting to 2% of the information.
Sam Amick of The Athletic joining us. As we wrap up here, Sam, I'll ask you, because you were all on top of the Dave Yeager story, and that's what we talked about last week, and Vlade Divac and Brandon Williams and everything going there. We've had a week now to kind of digest everything. Your thoughts on the team now? They won the night before last in Phoenix. They're on a road trip. You think maybe it was a good thing for them to get out on the road, and does it seem calm right now?
Yeah, it seems better. I mean, the one big thing that to me got maybe overlooked at the time, and that looking back on it is certainly huge, is when I had reported that Dave Yeager didn't want Brandon Williams, the assistant GM, in the shoot around that one morning. My question at the time was like, well, wait a minute. Like, if this is the new baseline and this is the new way that they're going to interact, like, this is not really sustainable. Like, how do these guys? How do you continue to function that way? And then it was clarified to me that Dave, this was a one-time thing, and that he was sending a message, and there was going to be a calming of the waters with him being willing to not take such a hard line every single day at least. So it's those personal dynamics haven't gone anywhere, but everybody is smart enough, you think, to go ahead and say team's playing well, put the focus back on that. This road trip they're on right now, I mean, these guys got a real opportunity to find themselves at 15-12, 27 games in. I mean, how much money would you have put on that? And, there's just no way. 27 games in, Dave, we were talking about, about them maybe having 5, 6, 7 wins.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so not only, I mean, I would be disappointed for Kings fans if they should sweep this road trip. These are 3 bad teams. Cleveland's shown a little bit of life lately, but 3 bad teams they have coming up. And then it would behoove them to take advantage of it because the schedule on the back end is really rough. It gets a lot tougher from there. I think you and I talked yesterday about it. Like, it's about 12 games in a row where I don't think they would be favored even in their much improved state.
Well, and to your point, going into that Phoenix game, second toughest schedule in the NBA, strength of schedule-wise, and coming out of that 4th toughest schedule in the NBA. Sam Amick writes for The Athletic. You can go to theathletic.com. Just in time for the holidays, I see all kinds of deals and specials, whether it's a free trial, whether it's a discounted monthly subscription. You've got hats, T-shirts, hoodies, all kinds of athletic apparel that comes with that as well. So go check it out. It is my favorite sports site, and that's why we have a lot of guests from The Athletic on this program. It is clean, it is to the point, and they are breaking news and expanding on news all the time in ways you just don't see that much from a lot of other sports websites. TheAthletic.com is the home of Sam Amick. We appreciate you, buddy, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon, huh?
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the support. We'll talk soon. All
right, you take care. That's Sam Amick. We'll take a break. When we come back, Kyle's Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Coors Light. He always has some fun little nuggets lined up. And then Scott Moak is going to join us at about 8:45. We will be telling you about the next Do One Thing Caravan Challenge as we continue to try to do what we can and what you can to help out the fire victims up in Butte County. We're back in a couple. Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Week 14 of the NFL season kicks off tonight in Nashville. It's the Jaguars at the Titans. Tennessee trying to keep pace in the AFC postseason hunt, while the Jags look to play spoiler near the end of their disappointing campaign. We'll have action for you right here on Sports 1140. That begins at 5 o'clock. There's a blockbuster trade in Major League Baseball yesterday with the Arizona Diamondbacks sending first baseman Paul Goldschmidt to the St. Louis Cardinals in exchange for a trio of prospects. Goldschmidt is a free agent after this season. And Russell Westbrook notched his 108th career triple-double last night in Oklahoma City's 114-112 win over the Nets. That breaks a tie with Jason Kidd for the third most all-time. It's 8:31. Peak Financial wants to talk retirement. Dial pound 250 and say the word money. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHGK.
Here we go. The drive continues now.
Thanks to Sam Amick of The Athletic, along with Grant Napier at 7:35. Both joining us on the Firewings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Hey, just wing it. Speaking of, Scott Moak will join us in just over 10 minutes, and we will talk about the effort you can get involved in to once again do what we can for the victims of the fires up there in Chico, Butte County, Paradise, et cetera, et cetera. You mentioned Russell Westbrook in your updates, Kyle, as we get to Kyle's cold hard facts here in a second. I love these videos. They make me like players, even if I don't necessarily like them. There was a video last night of Russell Westbrook. Once again, he's been doing this a lot, calling a kid down from the stands at Madison Square Garden and giving him his game-worn shoes, which I believe were a bright green. That's awesome. Highlighter green, and just the look on the little kid's face, and Russ patted him on the head, talked to him for a little bit. That's what I want a website dedicated to nothing but, or a Twitter feed dedicated to nothing but awesome interactions between athletes and kids.
Because that's that kid will talk about that until
forever.
he's on his deathbed. Like that kid will talk about that forever.
I'm sorry, I'm just waiting for somebody to tweet us the eBay link. They're already up.
Oh, yeah. That kid's just like, yes. His dad's like, nice job, son.
Kid's already getting paid.
Mom is taking pictures so she can throw them up on eBay.
All
awesome.
right. Hey,
there was a story. There was a really good New York Times article about Russell Westbrook.
Uh-huh.
And there was this anecdote about he was doing one of those like reading buses where you're on the bus and the bus is like a little library and the kids all come in and pick out a book. And one kid didn't have his shoe tied. And Russell Westbrook was like, hey, man, your shoe's untied. And the kid started to walk away, and he was like, no, tie it. And so he made the kid stop and tie his shoe. Uh-huh. And every kid that walked in after that had their shoelaces like untied or loose, he'd be like, hey, your shoelace is loose. Hey, your shoelace is untied.
That was his thing?
And made him he just became obsessive over it.
Wow, that's awesome that Russell Westbrook likes to shame kids that don't have their shoes tied.
Exactly. Thank you for getting at what I was getting at there.
Maybe some of those kids don't know how to tie their shoes.
Yeah, Russ.
Here's somebody that knows how to tie his shoes because they're all Velcro. It's Kyle Madson with Coors Light's Cold Hard Facts.
It's time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Fact of the Day. Here's Kyle Madson.
This is Cold Hard Fact of the Day. It's really Cold Hard Facts.
That's what I feel like. I work really hard on these.
Yeah, we'll have to get the voice guy to add in a S.
We can do it.
We can do it. The Cold Hard Facts of the Day. Kyle Madson, factoid number one.
I'm sorry.
Coors Light.
I'm sorry. I've got to do this one first. I'm getting it out of the way.
Okay.
Stephen Curry. Has made at least 6.
Sorry, go ahead.
Stephen Curry has made.
Sorry, dude. What? Focus, dude.
Stephen Curry has made at least 6 3-point field goals in a single half for the 26th time in his career, either the first or second half. No other player has more than 9 since 2009-2010, which is Curry's rookie season.
It's very impressive, dude. He's amazing. He's really good.
Thanks, man. Paul Goldschmidt has 201 home runs and 120 stolen bases since 2012. Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Another fact, brought to you by, not brought to you by, via. I found this fact via ESPN Stats and Info. He's one of 2 players with at least 200 home runs and 100 stolen bases since 2012. Can you guess the other?
Say it again. He's one of
2 players with at least 200 homers and 100 stolen bases since 2012. Don't think too hard.
I don't know.
You don't know, or are you doing a bit?
Yes. I don't know.
I just who would have a bunch of homers and a bunch of stolen bases? Good Lord, man. It's Mike Trout.
Yeah, okay. Mike Trout. Who's the other one?
That's it.
Oh,
Paul
it's just
Goldschmidt.
2. Oh, counting him, it was 2.
Yes.
Mike Trout was too easy.
That's what I said. Don't think.
Oh, that's
don't
why
think
he's
too hard.
okay.
Paul George hit a 3-pointer with 3.1 seconds last night to put the Nets up 114-112.
Fact.
They ended up winning. Put the Thunder up over the Nets 114-112.
Fact. Was that it?
That was Paul George's first career make on a go-ahead attempt with 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter or overtime. He entered the day 0 for 14 on those kind of shots.
Triggered Kings fan alert. Triggered Kings fan alert. While your fact is 100% correct, I was there when Paul Stinkin' George, his time was running out at Arco Arena, and the Kings were up 4, hit a 3, garbage foul, made the free throw, sent it to overtime, Pacers won. Your fact is 100% correct.
Right, because it was a go-ahead.
Not a tie, a tie.
Sorry, man.
I don't like Paul George.
I didn't mean to bring that
forever.
up.
That's fine. The Steph Curry and that in the same one. What's your next factoid? Rob Horry?
As a matter of fact. This is via Elias Sports. The Oklahoma City Thunder became the second team in NBA history to have one player score 40 points and another with a 15-15-15 game. So Paul George had 47 last night.
Yes.
And Russell Westbrook had a 15-point, 15 rebound, 15 assist game. I don't have his exact numbers in front of me.
Sure.
It was one of 2 times that's ever happened in a game that teammates have done that. The other was in 1962.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see. We were just talking about this. Wilt Chamberlain had 50. And Kobe Bryant
did not.
Yep.
Because
Guy Rogers had remember, you recited the line. In fact, I'll let you do it.
No, go ahead. This is not Dave's cold hard facts.
Guy Rogers, he had 23 points, 20
rebounds, and
17 assists for the San Francisco Warriors versus Pistons.
Russell Westbrook had 21, 17, and 15.
That's just outrageous.
Isn't it?
That's, like him or not, I don't. But like him or not, that's just outrageous production. And the fact he continues to do that and has the athleticism and ability and the stamina to continue to put up that type of production every night is outrageous.
Here's another way to look at that box score. Russell Westbrook in 14 minutes last night missed 14 of 23 shots.
He only played 14 minutes?
40. I'm sorry. Did I say 14?
Yeah.
I apologize. He played 14 minutes,
Whoa.
and he missed 14 of 23 shots, including he missed 7 of 9 from behind the arc. He only made half his free throws, no blocks, and only 1 steal.
Did that come with Metamucil?
From the 916, so the Gatorade commercial where Paul George hit a game-winning shot while time was expiring was a lie?
Yeah. And what's funny is if you watch the trajectory of that ball, it's definitely not going in.
No, it's not.
It's really funny. On this date in 1960, on this dates are some of my favorite ones, so those are always going to be included.
I enjoy them too.
Gene Autry was granted a franchise by the American League. That franchise?
The California Angels.
That's it.
That's right.
Right.
Gene Autry, legend of the silver screen.
Also on this date, in 1992, Jerry Rice caught a then record 101st touchdown. He would double that eventually.
With his stickum because he was a cheater?
Exactly. He wasn't actually good. All those times he was open, not actually open. On that same day in 1992, the Barry Bonds became a San Francisco Giant.
The Barry Bonds.
The Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds became a Giant. That was a fine day. I like that with mustache Barry Bonds.
Mustachioed.
Thinner mustachioed Barry Bonds.
Less steroidy.
Much less, allegedly.
Hey, just a couple of cheaters there. Barry Bonds and Jerry Rice. Goats, more like nopes.
When you think about it, is there any city...
I call them Leslie because they're so nopes.
That's a Parks and Rec
Yeah, it is.
I recognize
Yeah, it
that. Is San Francisco, is the Bay Area the cheatiest city?
Yeah.
Because you have McGuire and Canseco.
Yep.
You have Barry Bonds. You had Jerry Rice. You have the Warriors.
Was it Lester Hayes, the defensive back that wore pine tar all over his hands?
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Pine tar. Yeah. I'll go ahead. Even if we're wrong about that, I don't care.
We're rolling with that. The Raiders in general used to stab people on the field.
So the
They
Giants
won titles with it. I'm not blaming them.
The Giants cheated. The A's cheated. The Niners cheated. The Raiders cheated, and the Warriors have cheated. That is.
How'd the Warriors cheat?
Well, in a couple different ways.
Okay.
Number one, they signed Kevin Durant
Legally. Okay, keep going.
But also, you'll read someday. I keep telling you, you're going to read someday about some of the things that gets done for these players financially off the court for playing there.
That's
that
illegal?
gives it a completely. Well, when you say illegal,
that's cheating.
It's not illegal.
It's cheating.
I mean, it's not illegal.
If you get caught, you get in trouble. That's cheating.
Hey, you know what? Guess what? When you no, you ready? Okay. When you steal a
I'm
base,
listening very intently.
In baseball, when you steal a base, that's not illegal, but you're stealing.
No, but it's not cheating
it's
either.
Theft.
No, yeah, right.
It
because
says it
you
in the
stole
title.
That base from the defense.
You stole it.
But it's not cheating.
They're not getting in jail for
This
burglary.
is a bad analogy. Swing and a miss.
Okay, how about
strike
this? When you are in baseball and
this is my other listening intently.
There's a brawl at the mound. That's not assault, but technically it's illegal.
It could be, though. Like if a guy ran out there and takes a bat to a pitcher.
But it's not. Well, yeah,
no,
that would be.
But it is. There's just no charges.
If I get hit, if you hit me with a pitch,
this is dumb. We have to go to break.
If you hit me with a pitch and I punch you in the face, am I going to jail?
Yeah, if I press charges.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, on a baseball field.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Absolutely. It just doesn't happen
that's
because
a clown
that's
take, bro.
No, that would be a clown thing to do.
You're a clown thing to do. Got him. We'll take a break. When we come back, Scott Moak will join us.
I don't even know what to do anymore. I got nothing.
Yeah, well, why don't you go perform more illegal things like your Warriors do all the time?
Yeah.
We'll come back with Scott Moak and switch and talk about charity and giving and stuff like that right here on the drive. Sports 1140 KHDK. What's on tap? Brought to you by
boxers.
Well, that could be a number of things. Are we
Interpret it as you may.
Okay, so do I go with clothing?
I did a bad job of presenting the information properly, so it's up to you.
Okay, I got it. Boxers. Meldrick Taylor, Ivan Robinson, Arturo Gatti, the late great. In Kyle's world, they should all be in jail because they're fighting. Boxers.
No, because they are doing something within the confines of their sport. They're not cheating.
Nope.
No, if a boxer... No. If a boxer...
I just say terrible take and don't back it up.
Yeah.
And then it makes me right. I just say that.
Now, if a boxer puts cement in his gloves, that's cheating. I like when your wheels are turning, trying to make more bad takes.
No, my wheels are turning because I'm like, do I want to stay down the road of this horrible takerism, or do I want to focus? Because we gotta get Scott Moak on the phone to talk about real things.
Let's Mocus.
Let's what's on tap. Brought to you by
Focus, but Scott and Moak.
Brought to you by radio shows that are probably not going to be on the air that long. You have something to say. Go ahead.
You've been saying that a lot lately. Is there something you need to tell me?
You'll find out when you find out. Let's just keep that between us. I have something to tell you, Kyle, after the show.
By the way, pack up all your stuff.
Pack up all your stuff. It's time to go. We'll be escorting you outside.
It's time to get to Scott Moak, but before that, it's time to call Sierra Pacific to get up to $1,600 off a new Lennox furnace. Keep your home cozy and warm this winter. 800-551-3040 or SierraPacificHome.com.
Jaguars, Titans tonight. This is also for many people, and I try to do this as a public service announcement. This is also for many people the first week of playoffs in your fantasy league. I can't imagine you have too many fantasy players involved in this game, but and by the way, and still be in the playoffs, but maybe your third wide receiver, a backup running back, Maybe you've got Marcus Mariota going. I don't know. Set your lineups. Mariota. It's a bad take, Kyle. Jaguars-Titans tonight at 5:20. No Sacramento Kings tonight. They will continue the road trip tomorrow. Light schedule in the NBA. The Celtics host the Knicks at 5 p.m. Trailblazers and Suns up in Portland at 7. And then the Jazz in Salt Lake City. The 12 and 13 Jazz take on the 11 and 12 Rockets at 7:35. Who would have thought we'd be saying December 6th? The 12 and 13 Jazz host the 11 and 12 Rockets. What a wacky, wacky season. Bless you, Kyle. Joining us right now, he sneezed. Let's see. How many titles does this guy have? Vice President of Community Investment for your Sacramento Republic. Host of Studio 40 Live. That's on our good friends over at Fox 40. He'll be on the air in just moments. And longtime beloved PA announcer for your Sacramento Kings. The one, the only, Scott Moak. Hello, Scotty.
Hi, beloved is questionable, but thank you so much for all 16 of my titles with that introduction.
Beloved, I say, featured in multiple documentaries about the Kings that nobody has ever been able to see. And
I know. Are you still working on that?
Yeah, I am, but I don't bring it up that often because it's been 5 years. But trying to get the NBA to give you footage of theirs for free, it turns out not an easy thing.
No, I can imagine. I know there's some controversial stuff in there, and it was at least we all get to look back and know that it was a thought well spent, and we're now celebrating. Now we're celebrating a over 500 team. How great is that?
How great is that? And the Rockets and Jazz both under 500, as I was just saying. What a wacky,
no kidding,
wacky year. Well, you know what else isn't easy? Watch this transition. You know what else isn't easy, Scott? And now I get very serious. Is the aftermath of the tragedies that happened up in Paradise Butte County. We've talked about this at length off the air. I mentioned it yesterday, Scott. You know, the fires are out. They are contained, and the national media has gone to cover other things. And now we're not hearing about those fires, and we're certainly not seeing our skies clouded with smoke, making it impossible damn near to go outside down here, as if that was the worst thing that could happen to us. But now is where the real work, phase 2 starts. You have real life that has to resume, and you know, you have always been very active in the community since you've been here, and really a mentor and idol of mine when it comes to the amount of differences you've made. So I'm really happy to bring you on, because I love you and I like talking to you, but also because this morning we're announcing, and I'll let you do it, a little bit of a partnership between some of my favorite things, KHTK and the Sacramento Republic, to try to let people, let's the wrong word, to try to give people a conduit to really make a difference for some very special people up there in Butte County.
Well, that's right, and thanks for that, Dave. Doing the right thing and helping people, it's something, I probably should thank my parents and family and neighbors for. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing. I have a good fortune of doing it now with the Republic. And after all, Dave, it does take a Republic.
It does.
It's cool to be able to partner up with you. You are my, an ambassador of good works as well. And so the chance to work together on this little project, and it's really just start a collection drive for school supplies. One of the things, you said it perfectly, that we know about these kinds of devastating events that happen is that once the national media, once everything starts to die down, the people there, as they continue to reform their lives and get back on their feet, that's when they need the help, when people are actually going away. And so we know this recovery effort, because of the devastation and the number of lives lost and property lost, it's going to be really a long-term battle, and they're going to need help for a really long time. In the Republic, we're excited to make some longer-term investments that we're still working on with various entities there in Butte County. But one of the things we want to do is a little bit of a shorter-term opportunity, and that's work with you guys to launch a school supplies drive. So I know we're gonna start to distribute some collection bins in some various locations around the community, the first being at our Republic team store there on 17th and Broadway. And I know you're going to be doing a lion's share of collecting there. Your Do One Thing challenge, I think, really is what inspired all of us at the Republic, and really said, like, let's dig in with Dave and do something here and see if we can't help these kids who are just, I mean, they're going back to school this week up there, and we're hearing some of the stories, and it's just really difficult, as you can imagine, for a kid who was in school before. Their school has burned down. They now have no place, not a secure, that home feeling that school provides to a kid. And so they need some help, and we're gonna be able to do that.
Scott Moak needs to go on television here soon, and we're almost out of time. So here's the deal, guys. We're going to be doing a school supplies drive, as Scott said. We will have more details at KH2K.com, SacRepublicFC.com. I know there's a release going out here shortly. So many of you have contacted myself and others, Scott, and people over there wanting to know how you can continue to help, and it is truly humbling the amount of people that want to. I can't think of too many better causes than trying to help kids, go to school and learn and try to get some semblance of normalcy. So, Scott, we're going to throw things up on our website. I know you guys will be doing the same. And then in the upcoming weeks, at least on this station, supported by both social medias, we will be giving everybody all the details on supplies, dates, and everything else. Scott, we're out of time, but I appreciate it. And you give a big kiss and a hug to everybody over there at the Republic. And we'll make it happen, Captain. We're going to do some good and help these guys out.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, you take care. Scott Moak, everybody. One of my favorite people in the entire world. Kyle Madson's okay. He did an okay job today.
Thanks, man.
Eunice, definitely one of my favorite people in the world. Our thanks to Sam Amick, Grant Napier, and, of course, Scott. You have a big broadcast day here with the Lowdown, and then Grant and Doug from Cleveland. Jim Rome is next. Enjoy the rest of your broadcast day right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. Bye-bye now.